Greetings everyone, this is Rambling Collector here, and welcome back for another book review. The subject of today's video, the book Nemesis by A. Scott Frushstick. Now this is honestly a surprising one, at least in my personal opinion, due to the fact that not only is this an independently published superhero novel, but it is also a superhero satire. Now, for those of you who've followed my channel for a while, you'll know Satire is one particular series that I've never fully dove into, or let me rephrase that, a particular genre I've never really dove into. But when I finally realized this one was satire, it really did catch me off guard, because for a while, when I was reading this particular book, I was taking it more very seriously, hand in hand, just following the plot along like it was a very serious novel. But over time, I came to realize that that is not particularly the case for this book. And when I finally did realize that, it was exactly halfway through the book whilst I was narrating it. Which, yes, I've actually been given the honor of being the audiobook narrator for this particular work, and I'm very excited to see what others will think of that. But with that being said, let's get to talking about the book itself, shall we? So overall for Nemesis, my thoughts are as such. This one provided an interesting satirical approach to the world of superheroes, showcasing more morally dubious or even overworked superheroes, along with more morally conscious villains. Our prime examples, of course, being the showcased rivalry between the hero Walkman and his nemesis, Dr. Doomsday. Now, when I was first reading this one, I was essentially playing it off as Walkman with his unique powers of sound, each of them giving him different unique abilities ranging from healing to super strength, and a few others allowing him to process his thoughts a lot faster, or increase intelligence, or even things along the lines of simply just calming him down, or putting him to sleep. Which, by the way, interesting powers, and I also like the fact that it was literally based on the actual music player of a Walkman. Headphones included and everything, which that blew my mind and honestly was definitely a nice bit of slapstick, and that's when I probably should have realized that this was going to be a little bit of satire, but I digress. Either way, no hero is complete without a villain, and Dr. Doomsday really stood out as a very fun villain for me, and a very interesting character overall. But a few other prime examples that we see one hero who is very heavy on drinking, violent, and at one point goes on a full-blown vengeance spree due to the death of their sidekick. Which is understandable. I mean, you did just loot. It was the person who has fought alongside you for years, but being hell-bent on revenge is never the way to go. But even then, we also see other villains who do pop up who do have a bit of a moral conscience. In fact, a lot of the people who work under Dr. Doomsday throughout this novel are all just that. Regular people just trying to survive and live and have a decent life. And, more than that, Dr. Doomsday himself is also a very interesting character in that regard, being a supervillain who wants to take over the world and yet doing his best to look out for the various men and women under his command. Essentially being the best boss they've ever had. And for a good prime example of this, at one point during the plot, when Walkman and Dr. Doomsday are having to work together due to a new villainous organization cropping up that is targeting both of them, as well as Walkman's newly discovered and very estranged teenage son, they decide to work together, and at one point, when having Dr. Doomsday enrolling Walkman into the Doomsday organization, they bring up things like 401k matching plan and maternity leave, sick leave, paid time off, things of that nature, and I'm just like, well then. And then we hear Walkman comparing that to what he gets from the Heroes Association, which is basically a cut on any businesses that are willing to go along with his coupon card. And that alone is just sad to hear. Like, you work day and night as a hero with barely anything to go off of, and yet the villains somehow have the best treatment as a henchman from their boss, who is a well-known supervillain. You gotta admit, that is just extremely messed up in some of the craziest, wackiest, and also saddest ways. But more than that, and as well, on the flip side of this coin, Walkman at first comes across as a very weary and tired out hero who simply wants to retire from this life and be a father to his son. But over time, as we get to know him more as a person and as a character, he comes across as far more of a morally dubious character, showing how far he is willing to go to wipe out evil from the world, consequences be damned. And in some cases, I really do like how some hero franchises have become just that, satires. Great examples, of course, being the series of The Boys, as well as Invincible, if you really want to go down that route. Though Invincible, I feel, goes far more from superhero comics, although it does still have that premise and more into alien conquest and dealing with a genocidal alien race. It kind of goes far beyond the superhero route for a time, but it still harkens as a superhero comic. The Boys is a great example of a satire taken to the extreme, where you have morally corrupt hero who's kept at the top of the food chain, and the average Joe just trying to bring them down and showcase how they are not these pinnacles of justice they are proclaimed to be by their corporate sponsors. Now, this one in particular is interesting because of Walkman himself as a character. Like, at first, again, he's just shown as like very tired, trying to keep himself and his son safe, willing to work alongside his nemesis in order to make it happen. But then near the tail end of the book, you really see that veil of the quote-unquote hero fall apart, and what is revealed is a little bit of a psychopath pushed way too far to the edge. But that is not to say that Stephen himself, the son in all of this, is also a very fun character for the fact that he fully believes in what Dr. Doomsday is trying to do, which is simply to better the world. And in fact, throughout the book, we don't really see a lot of Doomsday doing truly villainous things, at least from where I'm seeing. But anyways, I think I've prattled on long enough here. So, for random thoughts here, what do I think? Overall, this is another reason why I'm really enjoying the independent author side of things, because throughout superheroes, all I've ever known has been Marvel and DC. I've never really seen even a satire of superheroes until recently with The Boys and now Nemesis, which I've been told by the author they are planning a sequel, and they want to enlist me as the narrator, which that is an awesome opportunity, all things considered, but I'm really curious to see just how they're going to go about it. What more are they going to explore in this new world that they have crafted? But more than that, the indie author scene when it comes to superheroes in general has been fully well explored, in my opinion. I've seen now at least 3, now 4 authors who have taken a different approach to superheroes, whether it be a more unconventional hero taking the spotlight and having to step up and prove themselves, to a simple young adult series showcasing how heroes and villains are not always cut from black and white and truly having to take down, again, a corporate empire that is building superheroes. And even then, there was another one that was just straight up from the villain's perspective, which that one I really thoroughly enjoyed. And of course, I'm talking about the Victor Boone series by David Joel Stevenson, the short story compilation called No More Heroes, and of course, the Young Heroes and Villains series by R.I. Polsgrove. And now, with Nemesis by A. Scott Frushstick, I'm really enjoying the indie author scene when it comes to superheroes and how much more they are fleshed out here. And it really helps to branch away from everything from the simple Marvel and DC empires that we see all over the world. I really do enjoy this unique take. And And frankly, I'm excited to see if we'll ever see any more like this. And if anyone has seen any others, please let me know. To this day, I still do love superheroes. I mean, I've covered enough Marvel and DC comics on this channel for you all to see that for yourself. My childhood did consist of a lot of watching Justice League as a kid, and of course, going through my teenage years, going to see the new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie every time one came out in theaters. But now, growing up, almost to my 30s, I really have enjoyed these more unique takes on superheroes in general, and I really do hope to see more of them like this. But with that being said, I think I've prattled on long enough, so let's get down to the overall score. Overall, I'd have to say Nemesis as a satire has worked really, really well. And while this is not my first time diving into the world of satire, I will say this one really does stand out for one major thing. It's funny. Like, genuinely funny in so many ways. So overall, 10 out of 10 from me. And if you all are really curious to check it out, please feel free to look up the paperback, or whenever it does go live, the new audiobook, which has been narrated by me. And I really do hope you all will enjoy that. If you are curious about some of the other works that I've covered here on this channel, please feel free to take a look at the playlist of indie authors that I will leave here at the end of the video. Or if you're curious to see some of the just overall books that I've covered here, I will leave a link to that playlist as well. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe if you're curious for more. Thank you all once again for listening to this crazy man's rambling. It's about different indie authors, and I'm really hoping that this helps bring the spotlight to more of the underground authors, at least in my personal opinion. Anyways, thank you all so much for listening. This is Rambling Collector, signing off for now, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day, fellow readers.